The Region of Waterloo is trying to assemble 770 acres of Class 1 farmland in Wilmot Township that will be rezoned and made shovel-ready for industrial use. If farmers refuse to sell, the region has threatened to expropriate their land. Since March 2024, the region has purchased 22% of its target, with funding that we now know is coming from the provincial government. Now, there has been plenty of local opposition, including delegations and protests, as Wilmot residents make it clear that they are not willing hosts for a possible factory. They are not willing hosts. But the region is still attempting to own several properties, either by negotiation or expropriation, and their direction is coming from the provincial government. But even farmers who are outside of the land assembly area are worried that they could be next. I'm in New Hamburg today to hear from one of them.
So Eva, thanks so much for joining us today. It means a lot. How close are you and this beautiful farm to this entire farmland grab?
I would say a little bit too close. It's exactly about 9 seconds just to walk over from our property line to the proposed mega site. It's exactly 22 steps. We are separate properties. We are just on the other side of the Bleems Road, but we are connected by the waterways and the hydro towers. I didn't realize what we had until we found out about this, and we think we might lose it. We might lose our property. How ridiculous does that sound? Our property.
How is, this chaos, how is it impacting your ability to run your farm?
We have stopped any capital investments into our farm because how can we plan for the future when we don't know what the future holds?
What does this have to do with people who live in cities?
I think that people in cities need to prioritize the importance of food production. If COVID taught us anything, it's how important food security is. And when the farmland is gone, it's gone forever.
One of the things that I heard the most from the community was how upset they were when the corn was plowed on the purchased property.
Because it was not necessary. It did not have to be taken down.
And when you witnessed it the second time, what was happening then?
When I witnessed it the second time, they came back a few weeks later and started plowing all over again. And I saw a police cruiser parked in the driveway.
What is happening that a police officer would have to be guarding a cornfield that's being destroyed?
I've never been more disappointed in our government before, and this needs to stop.
So this is leaving families feeling disillusioned and disheartened. Some of these families are weighing up whether or not they want to continue investing in their businesses. Why would they, when they know that they could lose their land if the region or province decide that they just want it, they'll just take it? This is destabilizing the farming community here in Wilmot.
So thanks very much, Mark, for joining us. Really appreciate it. These are really anxious times for farmers in Wilmot. What are you hearing from them?
I'm hearing from the farmers who are directly affected that this is probably the most stressful time in their entire life. To not know whether the land that you own will be your land in the future, not knowing what crops you will be able to grow, if you will be able to grow crops, if you'll be able to harvest them, not being able to make plans for the future, not being able to make plans in terms of your children taking over the farm, so farm succession planning.
So it's an interesting point. How many local jobs will be lost if these farms are forced to close down?
Trickle-down jobs are far more than the jobs that are right here. So every acre of corn that's produced here will provide jobs on down the line in terms of further processing, provide jobs in terms of feeding cattle. So your yogurt, your milk, your cheese, your hamburger all come from crops like corn and soybeans that are produced right here. Yeah. And all of those contribute to jobs. And then there is a significant number of jobs that come from further processing. So your corn can be turned into a sweetener or a starch.
It's so hard to draw people into the farming sector if governments can just say that they want your land.
We've been lucky here in Waterloo region in that we, since 1973, have had, I would say, very good planning.
Yeah.
We've had something called the countryside line that defined where the country started and where the city ended. And when you have permanent lines like that, you have security. and farmers are willing to invest. To build a new barn or to tile your land is an incredibly expensive operation. It's something that you take a lot of time deciding on and a lot of time planning, and it costs a lot of money. You can't do that if you're not secure in knowing how long you will have the land. So even farmers that are not right here, but farmers in the surrounding area in all of Waterloo region will now be wondering, when will that line be moved, or will that line be respected at all? Is my farm in peril? Can I plan where I am, even though I may be far away from the city?
I know that farmers across the province are actually watching Wilmot very carefully. Why should people in cities care about what's happening here?
This is the place where their food comes from. And I think in a province where we're losing 319 acres a day of productive farmland, something needs to be done. We live in a province that's huge. There are so many places where you can't grow food. There is no soil. Why not look at places like that for growth in terms of residential and employment? I am very cognizant of what our Indigenous neighbors say, plan for 7 generations. And I think that's what we should do. I think we should do that as a province, as a municipality, and as people who live here.
Wilmot's farming industry has been disrupted by all of this uncertainty. The land grab has destabilized the local farming sector, including a knock-on effect with suppliers of feed, fertilizer, and farm equipment. This is just bad policy that's negatively impacting these small businesses who are farmers. But this adversity has made the community stronger and brought people together, even those who aren't farmers. So Alfred, thank you very much for agreeing to sit down with us and share your knowledge about what's happening with the farmland grab. What kind of response have you had from the community about this land assembly?
Well, the community has been really supportive of our direction. The Fight for Farmland group was put together very quickly, early March. We got together with strong individuals with a lot of different skills. We had an environmentalist, we had a project planner. The community itself has been very supportive. We have over 3,500 signs that are scattered
they're
around.
all over the community.
Absolutely, they're all over. And then we also had coming up on 40,000 signatures on our petitions.
This is the number one issue that people in Wilmot are talking about for sure. But the players in this, land assembly are interesting, right?
I think it's a little bit of a threat that's occurring here. That if they don't follow the biddings of the region and the province now, that they'll be shut out, and maybe even as far as the end of Wilmot. It comes down to that. The provincial government is the key player in the province, and they control the municipalities. And so if they decide not to have this municipality, it's over.
How significant was that last week? We heard officially that the province was funding the expropriation and the land purchases.
And the insight of having the province as the kingpin here, it was key. Understanding that the local municipality really wasn't in charge.
I've been talking about the province since day one,
Yes,
and people told me the province is not involved at all. The lack of transparency is truly concerning from a process perspective. The Fight for Farmland has filed 21 freedom of information requests. How many were approved?
None. They were all discounted completely. 3 had some sort of rudimentary answer, but 18 were simply discarded. We've actually asked for another one, so there's 22. The process was not followed. The region always did a great job in putting communicating with the stakeholders. They've done nothing here, and I'm shocked. And there has to be a reason for it. I just don't know what that is.
Yeah, and I think people now can redirect some of their attention to the province, because the province has enabled this to happen. And if the province stops funding it, then the farmland grab will end. Why should people in cities care about what's happening here in Wilmot?
The water from the region is drawn not very many meters down the road for all of Wilmot, all of the region. 2 wells that are very close. 2 wells draw a tenth of the water for all of the region, which is not 300 meters down the road from the site.
Yeah, it's certainly worth fighting for.
I think our Fight for Farmland group is doing the best we can. We always look for support, and we're very thankful for all your support.
Oh, thank you very much.